All right, guys, so this is a video on how to do monohybrid crosses. And all that these are is when you have two different traits from the parent cross in order to have the ratios or the potential statistics of what their offspring could be. So for instance, we've got pea color. So we've got one pea that's green, little y, and one pea that's yellow, which is big Y, little y. So what I like to do is, it doesn't matter which side you put it on, but I really want you to clearly define what these letters are. So green would be little y, and yellow would be big Y, little y. If it helps you to color these as we go through them, I would strongly recommend them. So we know that yellow is big Y, little y. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick shading there. And we know that green is little y, okay? So remember, genotypes are the actual alleles. Phenotype is the physical characteristic. So little y, that's the genotype, or homozygous recessive. The phenotype is the physical characteristic, which would be green. The genotype here would be heterozygous, or big Y, little y. The phenotype would be that it's yellow. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to cross these two. So always put the capital first so then you're consistent. So we've got big Y, little y. We've got big Y, little y. We've got little y, and we've got little y. So let's go ahead and identify these. Well, we know that yellow is dominant. So this one would be yellow because there's that dominant Y. We've got this one that would be dominant. And these two are homozygous recessive, so these would be green. So for the phenotype ratio, I want you to give me a ratio. So what are the phenotypes? We've got green and we've got yellow. So we would put green and we would put yellow. And all you have to do is tell me the percentages or how many. So you could either put 2 out of 4, or you could just put 50% green and 50% yellow. What this is saying, guys, is if these peas had 100 offspring, there's about a 50% chance that some of those offspring are going to be heterozygous for yellow, and there's about 50% of those pea plants that are going to be homozygous recessive for green. So what is the genotype ratio for the offspring? What I like to do is go ahead and write out every possible genotype and then determine what we have for the ratio. So if we are using Y and it's a monohybrid cross, we could have big Y, which would be homozygous dominant. We would have big Y, which would be heterozygous, and we could have little y. So let's count it out. We've got 2 homozygous recessive, so that would be 50%. We've got no homozygous dominant, and then we've got 50% heterozygous. That's how you would do a ratio. If you just told me 100% little y, that would not be a ratio. That would be telling me what we have. So let's move on to the next one. We have a gray, no, we've got two brown chickens, but they're both heterozygous. So one is big B, little b, and the other one is big B, little b. So just to be clear, big B is dominant and it's brown. Little b is recessive and it's gray, okay? But make sure you remember that anytime there's that dominant allele there, it's going to overshadow that recessive allele, so it's going to have the phenotype of the dominant allele. This is why we call big B, little b a carrier, because both of these chickens are brown, but they carry that small recessive allele, which can actually be inherited, and if there were 2 little b's, then that would be a gray chicken. So what we're going to do is just combine these together. We've got big B, we've got big B, little b, we've got big B, and we've got little b. So this one right here, big B, homozygous dominant, that's definitely going to be brown. Big B, little b, same as the parent, that's going to be brown. Big B, little b, that's going to be brown. And do you see how even though both parents were brown, we got a gray offspring with that homozygous recessive? That's because these parents carried these recessive alleles. So this would be gray. So what is the phenotype ratio of the offspring? Well, what percentage is brown and what percentage is gray? Remember, guys, when you're going through these, it is going to trip you up if you tell me the genotype instead of the phenotype. Phenotype, physical characteristic. So we've got 3 browns out of 4, or 75% brown, and we've got 25% gray. And just like what we did up here with the pea plants, I want us to go ahead and write out the possible genotypes for each of these chickens. So we're using B, so it could be homozygous dominant, it could be heterozygous, or it could be homozygous recessive. So the homozygous dominant, we've got 1 out of 4, so that would be 25%. Heterozygous, we've got 2 out of 4, so that would be 50%. And little b, or homozygous recessive, we've got 1, so that would be 25%. There is a key posted for this already. If you need any extra help, make sure you come in and see me. Thanks, guys.